When I went to return the rifle in its instrument case, I noticed something upsetting. There were footsteps attempting to match mine from a street corner behind me. I'm being followed? Is it the Soniyama group? They're sure fast to react. To verify that I'm being followed, I keep turning corners until I return to my starting point. Was it my imagination? There was no sign of a tailor. In any case, Soniyama men wouldn't bother to tell me. They'd just strike the moment they spotted me. But they might be keeping an eye on me as they gather reinforcements for a sure victory. I should leave this place. I head straight for the Eastern District. The night isn't over yet. In fact, it's barely past 12 o'clock. Oh, I just left elementary school. I was on my way to meet my dad, Samejima Toshikatsu, at his workplace. Naturally, there was no way he had the time to play around with me during work. Thus, I figured I'd sneak up to the incredibly high rooftop to satisfy a bit of my childish curiosity. The tower was a skyscraper, a full 50 floors from the street. The view from the roof was perfect. The wide golden sky seemed to envelop me as it wrapped around the earth. It was gently spotted with shadowy clouds. As I was staring at the scenery, the sun set behind the snow-tipped mountains. Even as a child, I was moved by the beautiful sky before my eyes, until I noticed her on the other side of the fence. Oh, what are you doing? She was sitting at the edge of the roof, her legs dangling over the distant sidewalk. Hey, aren't you scared? She didn't answer. She was reading a thick book. Naturally, the wind was strong up here, and the pages blew around incessantly. Are you reading a book?
見ればわかるでしょ。
I thought she was strange, but that just made me even more interested in her. Why are you reading in a dangerous place like that?
落ち着くから。
She spoke solemnly. You aren't scared?
何も。
If you fall, you're gonna die.
肉や骨が飛び散るでしょうね。でも大丈夫。ゴミ袋を用意してるから。落ちるときはそれにくるまるよう努力するつもり。清掃の人もそれで少しは楽ができる。
She turns the page of her book while talking. You're pretty weird.
私はあなたたちとは違うの。あなたたちみたいに世間とつながっていないと孤独に発狂してしまうような連中とは違うの。
She talked about difficult abstract concepts so fluently. Are you a girl? Her short hair made her look like a boy.
悪い？
Nope.
なんで？
Huh?
どうして悪くないと思ったの？女の子なら普通髪は長いでしょ。常識を逸脱してるじゃない。
I didn't really get what she was talking about, but I replied anyway. I like girls with long hair.
って、そんなこと聞いてないわよ。
Well, it's not like it matters, right? There's nothing wrong with having short hair. I laugh and she sulks.
あなたこそ何してるの？
I'm waiting on my dad.
お父さんはここで働いてるんだ。
Huh? How did you know?
あなたみたいな子供が一人でこの商社のビルに入ってこれるわけないでしょ。
You're a kid too.
そうね。
Oh, wait. Does that mean your dad works here too?
だったら何？
Let's play. I'm bored.
私は暇じゃない。本を読んでる。
What are you reading? Let me see. I think I remember seeing Crime and Punishment written on the cover.
人は人を殺してもいいのか、悪とは何か。興味ある？
Nah.
じゃあ向こう行ってて。
What's your name?
は？
Your name. There was a strange pause.
勇者。
What?
勇者。
What? Hero?
田中。
Tanaka Hero? What kind of name is that?
勇者じゃダメなの？
Well, nothing. But if you're a hero, you're strong, right?
もちろん。
Can you use magic?
グーテンタック。
Whoa, awesome.
グーテンモルゲン。
Whoa.
ランランルー。
What kind of magic is that?
私もわからない。
You're weird.
さあ、帰ろうかな。
I remembered my first encounter with the young hero on the Seno rooftop clearly. I really must have some sort of mental illness to walk away such an important memory. Now, Usami's next. Before the high from spilling Gonzo's blood had subsided, I made my way to the Eastern District. I had decided upon a grave for Usami Yoshinori's daughter long ago. Usami should have heard about me from Tokita Yuki. I've told Tokita quite a bit about my activities. I told her about the underground channel and about my connections to foreign nations. I even let her stay at one of my lairs once. All the information I gave her knowing she may betray me. Thus, I'm not concerned about Tokita's information hindering my plans. But it could make Usami's gambits less predictable. In any case, ensuring that you're guiding your opponent's moves is battle strategy 101, the very fundamentals of combat. I'd say this calls for another game of tag. I wonder if that cell phone I gave Usami has any minutes left on it. I try calling her. She quickly picks up. Yo, Usami, how are you? Usami moans.
ゴンゾーさんを殺したな。
The media must be having a blast with it by now. The whole city will erupt in pandemonium. The death of the Soniyama Group boss, the most powerful member of the Soa Alliance, is a hefty trigger. The scales of power in the underground will be completely upset. The Azai Corporation front will fall also. How's Tokita Yuki doing? Will she be handing herself over to the police? Trespassing, attempted murder. She has quite the laundry list of crimes by now. If Tokita Yuki is arrested, it will reverberate to the Special Investigations Unit of the police. Her father, Tokita Akihiro, is said to be a brilliant man. If I can, I'd rather like to avoid doing battle with him. Usami simply ignored my provocations, though.
何の用だ?
I want to meet you. Usami's breath halts. You know the park in the Eastern District, near Subiki's old house? There's a levee nearby that leads to a drainage channel.
そこへ来いと。
We can't just walk in nonchalantly. They don't allow visitors in the outer underground discharge channel at this time, you see.
裏口でもあるのか?
Plenty. The structure takes in water from all the surrounding prefectures. Didn't your father ever tell you about it? Usami didn't answer. There's a tunnel entrance a little over 200 yards west of the drainage channel. The fence is usually locked, but I'll open it as a service to you.
それはありがとう。
And don't worry about the water. The channel's empty at the moment. Inside the tunnel is warmer than outside.
いいだろう。
What's she acting so cool about? This will be the final battle. Your final battle, that is. I'll choke you to death, just as my father did to yours. Okay, another scene.
さあ、帰ろうかな。
Her. She called herself Hero. She hadn't done so for any reason in particular. She just saw the word hero on the page in front of her. Then she felt like saying it. She didn't have any interest in the boy. She put her hand in her shorts pocket. Inside was a small pocket watch. It was a favorite of hers. After all, it had cute little penguins on it.
もう時間。帰る。それじゃ。
Clutching her pocket watch, she stood up. Hey, wait! A strong wind pushed its way toward her. With tremendous force, it crawled up the building. It swung across her ankle and yanked her foot away from its solid grip. As she lost her balance, she finally, and for the first time, looked at the boy's face. Watch out! The boy reached out his hand, his desperate face near her. He moaned. He struggled, he writhed. The light from the evening sky twinkled on her pocket watch. I'm going to fall, she thought. She was on the verge of death, yet she was calm. She merely had to pull out the trash bag and get in it before hitting the ground. The boy's breath tickled her ear as if despite the din of the rushing wind, her vision was filled with an expanse of glowing orange sky. At some point, she had come to rest in his arms. He held her as if to protect her. She could feel his warmth. She was more embarrassed than scared. I said it was dangerous, didn't I? You stupid idiot. She felt his breath on her again. She finally understood that she'd been saved.
懐中時計。
She muttered and searched her pockets. Of course, it wasn't there. It fell.
困る。
You should be happy you didn't fall.
やだ。
The boy seemed to be angry. He let go of the girl and pouted. The girl went to the edge of the roof again.
あれ、お母さんからもらったの。
She looked down as if trying to find it. Of course, it would have been impossible for her to spot a pocket watch from 50 stories up. Was it important to
う
you?
ん。でも諦める。
Are you sure? The girl turned to face the boy.
しょうがない。バラバラに砕けてしまっただろうし。
She hung her head as she spoke. Don't say such sad things. She didn't mean to say sad things. She just hung her head. Had the evening sun betrayed the feelings within her? Alright, I'll find it for you. Wait right here. The boy turned around. She didn't understand. She had never asked him to find it for her. I said I gave up, but the girl couldn't spit out the words she had gathered up to stop the boy. Darkness fell. She stood there in a daze. It was probably about time for her violin practice. She waited. It got darker and artificial lights took the place of the burning red sky on the rooftop. Not a single star was in sight. The wind that had nearly robbed her of her life had brought thick clouds along with it. It was cold. She waited. The roof door was thrown open. Someone shouted happily. A shadow dashed toward her. Another voice shouted, even happier than the first. The girl vaguely realized that the second voice had been hers. The pocket watch was fine. There were a few small chips on it, but the smallest needle kept ticking away, second by second. It was a miracle. Almost like magic, the boy said. The hero's magic. A warm fire burning her childish mind. To her, the boy was the hero. She stared at the boy. He looked back at her with a gentle expression. She wanted to give him her thanks right away, but her rebellious heart wouldn't allow it. She couldn't help but feel embarrassed as he stared at her. Snow. The boy opened his arms wide and looked up at the black sky. He had looked away from her. This was her chance. She could say it now. Her heart had been aching, holding it in. Aren't you cold? Want to wear my coat? His eyes met hers again. His thoughtfulness warmed her heart, but her shyness returned with a vengeance.
私、友達いなくて、お父さんもいつも仕事で忙しくて。
Her lips suddenly started moving. She couldn't stop them.
引っ越しばっかりで、そう、それで友達いなくて。それで、だから、みんな私のことを変なやつだって言って。だから友達いなくて。
She realized she was glowing, flustered. She was usually more calm and able to speak
あの
logically.
本当驚くぐらい友達いなくて
She was always ignored by the other kids her age. Thus, she decided to ignore them too. She had once read the phrase lone wolf in a book. She decided that being a lone wolf was her goal.
ごめんなさい
She apologized, choking back her tears. The emotional little girl on her finally surfaced. Hold it in, the girl said to herself. She'll just be dragged halfway across the world again. She won't be able to stay with the boy. Stay a lone wolf. Stay a lone wolf.
さよならもう帰る
She ran away. Her conscience ate at her. As she ran off, the boy shouted his name. I'm Kyousuke. We'll see each other again. Right, Hiro? The girl didn't answer. Her legs just stopped moving. In a way, though, that was her answer. Kyousuke. She said his name over and over in her mind. The snow-covering Tomenbetsu City had piled high. In stark contrast, the snow covering the girl's heart was primed, prepared to be thawed. She arrived at the meeting place Maou had mentioned, and found a tunnel just under a gently sloped levee. She opened the broken gate, passed through a dim tunnel, and finally reached the underground channel. It was a monstrous wide cavern. Supposedly the room could hold floodwater from the entire metropolitan area in case of a disaster. Haru thought of her father, Usami Yoshimura. She smelled cigarettes and heard the sound of mahjong tiles. Most of the memories she had of her father had at least one of those elements. She never had a chance to see another side of him. Her mother, Haru, had dragged her across the world with her. So when she heard he had been killed by a man named Samijima Toshikatsu, it didn't hit her too hard. His co-workers shed more tears at the funeral than she did. Shimiro thought her father was a well-loved man. It wasn't until much later that she realized her father had somewhat deserved his end. Rumor had it he passed his illegal gambling debts on to Toshikatsu in some nefarious scheme. Haru's mother swept her off to Germany in the meantime. The two fled the public's prying eyes. I can't blame Kosuke-kun for resenting me. Those were the happy memories. She had met Kyousuke on a Seno Corporation rooftop for many an idle conversation, and not once did they ever worry about their feuding families. Kyousuke was cheerful, elegant, and courageous as a boy, the polar opposite of Haru, who was unable to fit into Japanese schools due to her German upbringing. Usami Haru's only friend was her hero, Samijima Kosuke. Where is Maou? As if to brush away her warm memories, she focused on searching for her mother's murderous footprints. Okay, reading a book again? I had found the girl's pocket watch just yesterday. I went out on the Seno Corporation's roof today as well. I was hoping I might see that hero girl again.
また来たんだ
Yeah, I came to see you.
そうなんだで、何か用なの
Let's play.
なんで私
Dunno.
家族と遊んでれば
Dad is working, Mom is at the hospital, and my brother is in another country.
外国
Yeah, England. He's really smart.
年は結構離れてるの
About 10 years, but you're about the same age as me, right?
だったら何を友達になってくれるっていうの
Of course.
でも私来週にはニューヨークに行くんだ
Why?
お母さんのお仕事についていくの私も前座みたいなことするの
Opening act? What's that?
大勢の前でバイオリン弾くの
I really like Air on the G-string.
そうなんだ
I heard of it because my dad listens to it a lot. He's always listening to it these days.
だったら今度弾いてあげなくもないけど
Oh yeah, and I like Earthquanic too.
無視
I heard about that one at school. It's kind of dark but cool. Its title means devil.
魔王
Hey, you'll come back, right?
Hmm?
From New York?
まあ、いつになるかわからないけど、一応日本に家があるから。
What do you mean, for now?
別に。
Are you lonely?
なんで？
Your dad is always busy, right? Mine is too. And I had a baby sister a while ago, but she died.
そう。
Her name was Kiyomi, and she was really cute. But we're still happy. Sometimes my brother comes home too. I took a picture of him just a while ago. I can use a
カメ
camera.
ラくらい私も使えるよ。
Next time I'll take a picture of you.
いいよ。なんで？
As a keepsake.
やだよ。私女の子っぽくないし。
Don't worry about it. Come to my house sometime.
だからニューヨーク行くってば。
I didn't say next week. I said sometime. Anytime. We can all have dinner together. I'll tell you the address.
考えておくけど、あまり期待しないでね。
The entrance to a dark tunnel looms before me. This is it, the outer underground discharge channel. Several footprints have trailed mud through the passage. Wait for me, Usami. I listen and hear footsteps echoing from afar. It's Usami. She really came alone. This should be fun. I'd have expected her to call the cops. She must be drunk on heroism. She must want to catch me with her own hands. That, or she must have decided I'd run away with my tail between my legs if she let the police into my trap. Either way, she's come to die. What a foolish hero. She stubbornly chased me all this way, despite her powerlessness. She'd have done better to live the quiet life of a violinist. It's time to end this. Over here, Usami! I shout an invitation to her deathbed. As I anxiously awaited my reunion with Hiro, my life took a turn for the worse. The police called the house one day. They informed us that my father, Samajima Toshikatsu, had been arrested for murder. I'll never forget my mother's strength and kindness that bitter night. What's wrong? I asked her. Nothing, she replied, smiling. The next day, I was scared to go to school. I had been a leader in my class until then, but after the incident, I had no place there. Are you alright, Kyousuke-kun? You look like you might collapse. If there's something on your mind, you can always tell me, okay? My teacher reassured me during homeroom. When she did so, my classmates' apprehensive stares twitched. Everyone, be nice to Kyousuke-kun. He and his dad are two different people. He didn't do anything wrong. We should try to support him. That triggered the bullying. The kids started throwing around the term death penalty as a joke. In come recess, I often found a jump rope knotted menacingly on my desk. I came home to my mother slumped in a chair when she would typically be cheerful, completely clicking. With a broken face, one that had clearly given up, she welcomed me thusly. Did anyone say anything to you at school? I panicked and quickly put both hands to my neck to hide the bruising. The doorbell rang incessantly. I opened the door to a swarm of buzzing reporters and cameras. The bright flashes blinded me. Hey, don't take photos of the kid. I'll crop him out later. Hey, kid, do you mind? Go get your mom, son. I was overwhelmed by the wall of people. I tried to close the door, but they shot their hands out at me like a pack of zombies. They jammed their feet in the threshold, refusing to allow me to escape. After one of them stubbornly shoved the camera through the gap, I lost consciousness. From that day forth, my life was hell. Day after day, hordes, packs, swarms of media stormed my once peaceful home. Neighbors shot their mouths off about my family. And every time we nearly lost ourselves in this earthly chaos, the loan shark from the underworld made his eye gone to return to collect his due. My saving grace was what remained of my family, my mother and brother. Samejima Kyohei had rushed back to Japan when he heard the news. He didn't stay for long, though. He merely reprimanded me a few times, supported Mom for a little while, offered a stick of incense to our late sister's portrait, and planned one more brief trip to Britain to drop out of school. However, hell had other plans for my mother and me. Kyohei was caught in a subway bombing in London and lost his life. Kyohei's funeral was a sad event on many levels. Apparently, the bomb's blast was so powerful that not even a scrap of his body was found. With Dad unavailable, Mother acted as chief mourner. I think she was at her limits. The deep despair painted an impossible pallor on her face. The relatives in town for mourning had taken care of the funeral arrangements, apparently hoping to help Mom out. But behind the caring facade, they were all conspiring to strip my father's assets from him. Despite being tormented by debt, he had always adamantly refused to sell the house. He saw the house as the last stronghold of his family. And besides, why should we have to sell off the house which held our memories of Kyohei Nisan and Kiyomi to pay off a debt we shouldn't rightfully have? Of course, that logic didn't work on our relatives. One of my uncles had lent father money to pay off his debts. With land that was worth over 275,000 yen per square foot just ripe for the taking, it was only natural for him to take initiative and put his all into this little event. My brother Kyo's funeral was neither a celebration of life nor one of sorrow, but a farce centered around the sparkling of gold.
Kyousuke君も大きくなったべな。
This particular uncle was a self-sustaining fisherman from Hokkaido. My father was the only successful person in his family. He was raised poor, but studied like a madman to get into a top university and land his job with Suno Corporation. His brothers must have been jealous and likely asked him for their money often. That on top of the 100,000 yen Dad sent home to his family every month. You'd think my uncles would be a little more loyal after all that money.
清美ちゃんは残念だったべな。年数も50を間近に子供なんか作るから。
Even as a child, I could feel the evil intent hiding behind their kind faces. I could hear their whispers from the other side of the shut sliding doors. Toshikatsu's such a turned buffoon. You know, he never was one to talk things over with us. His wife's got it tough too. She's a Toyama family girl, but I hear her folks won't let her come unless she divorces Toshikatsu. Don't look to me like that's gonna happen. I told him time and time again, these inlander women are scary. Sure, she's got it tough and all, but she's rolling in Toshikatsu's dough. She may be a cute little thing, but she's too old to have any more kids. I'll take care of it. Just leave it to me. You mean the money? I'm sure the good Lord wouldn't mind if we took a little something from a guy who decided he'd rather cause trouble than support his family. I wonder why I'm in a place like this as I listen to the priest chanting sutras. Just a few days ago I had plenty of friends, my family was happy, and the sky from the Suno Corporation rooftop spread far around me. Now my father's in a cell. My mother seems about to faint. My brother was so thoroughly eliminated from this world that there's nothing left of him to mourn. And to add insult to injury, the media and my family circle like vultures, willing to watch us suffer for a buck. Why do I have to go through this hell? Why must I struggle on this spider's web? Why do I have to be afraid of people's stares and whispers? There was someone looking down on me as I held my knees in the corner of the room.
京介君、おっかさんにお願いしてもらえんべか？
His fake smile was so unlike my father's that I found it hard to believe they were brothers.
おっかさんに実家に帰ってもらえんかのう。
He was telling us to hand over the house in a roundabout way.
京介くんも辛いべよ。よその学校の方がいいべよ。
I'm staying with Mom. Annoyed that he couldn't pick a better time, I stood up against him.
年勝さんの夫さんはえらいことをしたんだわ。そういうことをしたもんはよ、家族ひっくるめて家を出ていくもんなんだべよ。
Dad didn't do anything wrong. He muttered, then turned around to his other brothers. They don't usually engage in open confrontation. They just use sly means to get their way.
いいか、京介。夫さんは4人も殺したんよ。人殺しだべ。夫さんを信じるのはいいが、人殺しが悪くないと言ったらいかん。
But Mom loves Dad too.
そりゃ旦那が金さ持ってるからだべ。そんなことよう言えんから、こうして身内が気をもんでるんだわ。子供には分からんだろうがの。
His face grew more threatening.
一方的ですまんがよ。わしの言うことを聞きなさい。頼れる身内もおらんのだべよ。母さんに苦労させたくないべ。
My body shakes in anger as I realize I can't escape him. Alright. I don't want to upset her, I nodded to that. But my uncles heaved a relief sigh, thinking they'd won me over. I was just thinking of my mother. What could she say in her defense, with the whole family ganging up on her? Would anyone believe her if she alone pleaded her innocence? She did nothing wrong, I thought. This is unfair. I was angry at myself for being powerless and ignorant. If Dad were here, he'd beat them up. If Kyohei were here, he'd chase them off with eloquent words. Anyone, I wish for anyone to come save us. If just one person came to defend my mother's honor, even if it accomplished nothing, I would be satisfied. The sutras end and I crouch to the floor. If I let myself be seen crying, I've lost. I grit my teeth, desperately trying to bear the pressure. The door at the back slides open.
お邪魔します。
When did she come back from New York? With an unbelievable amount of gumption for that tiny body, the young hero had jumped in.
兄ちゃんにお線香あげに来ました。
Everyone was in a clamor at the sudden intruder.
どこの子だ。場所をわきまえなさい。
My eyes meet with hers. She must have guessed what was happening, seeing me with tears of anguish in my eyes. Kira stared at my uncle down.
場所をわきまえるのはお前らの方だ。
Sounds like she overheard the conversation. No way, Kiyomi-chan. Don't be stupid, Kiyomi died. But she said her brother. The adults seem to have just realized that this is a funeral. Some kid none of them knew suddenly showed up. They looked at the girl with white faces as if they'd seen a ghost.
お前ら寄ってたかって白いものを黒だと抜かし、おっかさんや京介君をいじめるのか？
Her intelligence and courage stopped my tears.
わざわざ天国から出張ってきたんだ。ふざけたこと抜かしたらまとめて連れて帰るぞ。
そんなバカな。
My uncle's face, warped with greed not half a moment ago, was now clearly quailing. It was awesome. Hero came and saved me from this hellish place. It was only then that Mom shed her first tears. Maybe she really believed Kiyomi had appeared. The tears on her cheeks bore hints of a hue other than sadness. There's a lot to take in from this. Where is he? She searched for Maou in the monster's cavern, among its towering pillars. The silence seemed to hurt Haru's ears. She realized she had walked into a trap of her own volition. There were plenty of hiding places for Maou. He could be aiming at her with a gun at this very moment.
素晴らしい場所だと思わないか。
Mao's voice suddenly rang out from the abyss. The extreme echoes in the artificial underground space masked the location of the speaker.
お前の父宇佐美義則も地獄で誇らしげに自慢していることだろう。
Hearing her father's name didn't move Haru in the slightest. Okay, this is the last scene I'm reading. The ominous darkness around her seemed to engulf Haru, and with every passing second she was more sure this was the
鬼ごっこの次はかくれんのか。そろそろ姿を見せたらどうだ。
This is dragging on so much.
気が早いな。勇者と魔王の戦いの前には演出が必要だと思わないな。
お前とおしゃべりをするつもりはない。
面白くないな。まったく。
Footsteps echoed around her. He was close. Haru pricked up her ears and stared into the darkness, refusing to let a single sound go unheard. It paid off. She heard a noise and turned around. A piece of concrete had fallen to the ground. It was a distraction. Was he toying with her? The tension began to run her breath ragged. I watch Usami from behind the pillar. My only question is this: is she armed? Most importantly, is she carrying a gun? She's traveled extensively in her life, so it's possible she has experience with live ammunition. However, where would she get a gun in Japan? And she'd have to be a fearful sharpshooter indeed to hit me in this darkness, but there's always the remote possibility. When she quickly turned at the stone I threw, I watched the twisting of Usami's clothes. I couldn't see any bulge or waist that might be a sidearm. I'll laugh if it turns out she hit something in the bust or the leg, but I don't intend to give her the time to reach any elaborate hiding spots. Nevertheless, it seems she does have some sort of weapon. I keep a close eye on her right hand. She's holding it low and tense. In other words, it's poised to move quickly in the event of a surprise attack. Thus, she's carrying something near her right hand. Her skirt pocket, most likely. What kind of weapon is it, I wonder? A small knife, maybe? No, I'd say it's more likely a common woman's defense tool. Pepper spray or a taser, perhaps. They even sell tasers in the shape of pens here in Japan. Now, allow me to demonstrate my reverence for you, hero. Usami didn't respond. We didn't bring any friends, let alone police, and chased me all this way alone.
よく言う。警察の影でも見えれば尻尾を巻いて退散するつもりだったくせに。
Indeed, this is nothing more than a game after all. Thus, I won't intrude upon your honor by taking you down with a rifle from afar.
余裕だな。
You wouldn't use a shotgun to kill a rat, would you? Despite the fact that rats spread some rather troublesome diseases. I thought it'd be best to choke you to death. Just like father. I feel like mimicking him might allow me to carry some of father's karma. I burst into a dash. I leap from pillar to pillar, keeping my cover. Dude, they really know how to keep you interested for this entire thing. I reach a second pillar, a third, and I keep moving. I can tell Usami's breathing is getting unsteady. As I should have expected, she didn't blindly swallow my words. I'm carrying a gun under my suit jacket. If I get careless and she gets the drop on me, I'll just shoot her and be done with it. Now he's moving to the right. He moves between pillars with the swiftness of a panther. Haru panicked at Mao's playful movements. She'd never fought with her life on the line before. She certainly didn't expect to use the karate she practiced after quitting the violin to work on Mao. This was her best chance to defeat Mao. As long as Mao's pride continued to play with a powerless girl like her, she would eventually be given an opportunity to strike. The chance will only show itself for a moment. She checks for her hidden taser again. Just pressing the 10-centimeter long weapon onto an attacker's body will send electrodes flying into her skin. The manual claimed it supplies 500,000 volts, enough to rob the consciousness from any human, no matter the size. Haru tries to close in on the target. She moves to the pillar she last saw Maou at, and glues her back to it. Sweat slowly trickled from the fingertips of her tense right arm. Okay, you know what? Dude, come on. We continued our dance for a while. This is switching places and now and then. This great round open space. The pillars standing at equally spaced points. Usami must be losing her bearings running through this repetitive scenery. As proof of that, I have Usami's back. Of course, Usami will be watching her six carefully. We're around 5 meters apart. All I need to do is jump out and strangle her slender throat. But is it possible? Usami is most likely hiding a weapon. But if she has a weapon, why doesn't she keep it in her hand? Be it a knife or a taser, it would behoove her to hold it at the ready for a quick counterattack. Is she unarmed, or is that what she wants me to think? We're getting nowhere here, Usami. Not a fraction of a second after I opened my mouth, I heard a sound I hadn't heard until then. That metal sound must have been the weapon in Usami's uniform. Did she knock it against a pillar or something? I run through the darkness again, taking distance from Usami. What are you waiting for? I'm right here! I'll wait patiently until my prey weakens. A schoolgirl who hasn't even been through basic training will inevitably run out of stamina. Your breathing's getting heavy. Is something the matter? Oh no. I can't help but be interested in Kyousuke taking down Gonzo and Usami. I weave from pillar to pillar with blinding speed, leading her on with a glimpse of my back each time. Usami chases me. Is your hatred for me this weak? How long do we play this hide and seek? I gotta see this. I gotta see how this goes. I look back and scrutinize Usami's face as it's lit by the emergency lights. Her eyes are unfocused and her lips are blasted. There was indeed a black weapon in her right hand, most likely some sort of taser, as I predicted. Usami trips, and I don't fail to recognize my chance. This has to be the longest episode so far. Oh man, she must have gotten caught on a pillar. Usami falls to the ground face first. The black object falls out of her hand. I turn aside deftly and fiercely draw in on the fallen Usami. Usami hurries to jump up, and I push her down. Now, die! I put my hands to her already deathly pale neck. Oh, oh man. What's wrong, hero? Use your head! As I say that, I put all my strength into keeping the blood away from her brain. Taste it well. Your father died this way too. Usami slowly stops resisting. I'm taking her life. The sensation is so incredibly intoxicating. My father, Samejima Toshikazu, wished for Haru's death. As long as she lives, the demon named Usami Yoshinori will never be taught his lesson. I have no mercy. I don't feel any pangs of conscience. Usami will die at my hands. Oh. The light quickly fades from her eyes. In contrast, my face must be warped with delight. If only you could see me now, Father. I'm finally going to... There's something coming for my chest. I look at it reflexively. Shock and regret fly through my mind. I was being conceited. Who said she'd only have one weapon? My teeth crack in humiliation. Oh, screams pour down like rain. Haru squeezes out all her remaining strength. She had pulled out the hidden weapon from her skirt or pocket. The taser she was clenching took to Mao's chest. Suddenly Haru gathered all her love for her mother and resentment toward quitting the violin. She forced these emotions into her arm and threw it forward. There was a flash like lightning, or at least there was supposed to be. She couldn't believe her eyes. Electrodes should have fired into Maou, then discharged with a vengeance. Is it broken? No. Something in Mao's chest blocked it. Something hard. A lot of civilian tasers come with a warning that they won't work on especially firm surfaces. A gun? By the time she tried to press it onto another part of his body, it was too late.
なるほどな。
Maou smiled.
所詮は市販のおもちゃだったか。
Oh, she feels all the power drained from her. Her last weapon was smacked from her hand and flew far.
なかなか頑張ったな、ウサギ。
His hands wrap around her neck. Despair wells up in her.
次はどんな策を用意しているんだ。
That was it. She had nothing
そう
else.
か。もう遊びは終わりか。楽しかったぞ。
This is the end. There was never any point to it. Haru's resistance against Maou had been nothing more than a game to the bitter end. She's going to be killed. Killed like her father was. Her body attempted to shut down, and her consciousness slowly drowned. Her last memories were fuzzy. Her sight was gorged and red, and the boundary between life and death grew impossible to resolve. All she knew was that she was close to it now. She passed across an unbearable pain and into a euphoric floating sensation. Her pupils dilated, her eyes rolled back, her bodily functions were about to cease entirely. Kyousuke-kun. Thank you so much for yesterday, Hero. The day after she had barged into his brother's funeral, Kyousuke came to
ごめんね
the
勝手に妹さんのふりして。
There's one more scene here. Don't worry about it. You were so awesome. Haru knew her childish trick was only a quick fix. In the end, they'd still have to leave their home. I love you. Those carefree words took her by surprise. She couldn't tell him. She couldn't reveal that the man who tormented his father, that the man his father had killed, was her own father. She couldn't tell him. She couldn't let him know that she was leaving the country to flee society's prying eyes.
好き
A cold sweat ran down her back. She tried to smile, but it didn't work out so well. The power of the word love had driven the moisture from her lips.
私が好きって京介くんはほらお友達多そうじゃない
Yeah, I used to, at least. Kyousuke's voice grew a shade darker. She said something really thoughtless. Her pulse skyrocketed.
恋人とかいるの
She asked with feigned nonchalance. Nevertheless, the book she was holding was quivering with her arms, and the anxiety nearly made her jump from the 50-story building she sat atop. You sure act like a grown-up, Hero. Dad always said girls were interested in that sort of thing.
いいからいるのいないの
Nope, I never even thought about it. Her smile is much to her relief. But he smiles much to her relief. No, this wasn't the time to be relieved. She musters all her courage. The determination in her chest draws air into her parched mouth.
しょうがないわねなら私が結婚してあげるわよ
She couldn't force a smile. Only tears decorated her face. In the heat of the moment, she had said such a thing. Nonchalantly, indifferent.
また会えたらね覚えていたらでいいから私これから引っ越すの運命の再会っていうのかなロマンチックじゃない
You're moving?
そう
Why?
バイオリンの勉強するの
Will you be leaving the country?
デュッセルドルフヨーロッパね
No way. His voice clouded over.
寂しい。
Of course I will. Her heart nearly left from her chest at that.
だからほら、また会えたら結婚してあげるって。こういう約束って大人に言わせれば恥ずかしいんだろうね。でもいいじゃない。勇者からのお願い。
After getting all that out at once, she realized the absurdity of her words. Her knees started to buckle. It was as if her entire body was protesting against her brazen confession. Marry
嫌な
me?
の。
Are you serious?
本気よ。
This time her voice clearly shook. Does he think I'm weird now? Does he think I'm bossy? Does he hate me? Is he going to laugh at me for being so childish? Oh wait, Kyousuke-kun said he liked long-haired girls. However, as if to pick them up the pieces of Haru's shattered heart, the boy responded kindly. Alright, it's a promise.
覚えていなさいよ。私のお母さんすごい美人なんだからね。この意味わかるかな？つまり、私もこれからすごい美人になるってこと。
Yeah, and I'll grow out my hair. The girl stood up and turned to face the boy. She gave him a huge smile as she cried on the inside. And though her heart was fluttering, she knew it wasn't likely they'd meet again. Even if they did, the boy would be an adult. It would be a reunion between the son of a murderer and his victim's daughter. Kyousuke-kun would hold a grudge against her. But she didn't care.
約束ね。
She smiled again. The boy returned a smile in kind. Yeah, good luck with the violin. He gazed at her so gently. He spoke so kindly. Everything about him made her sad to say goodbye, as she knew the passage of time would likely rob her of her fleeting dreams. She wanted to stay like this. However, she knew that she would be unable to force her smile much longer if she stayed with the boy, and she refuses to cry right now. There would be plenty of time for tears in the coming
じゃあね。
months.
とりあえずフェリーでどこかの空港まで行くらしいから。気が向いたら港まで見送りに来てよ。
Yeah, I'll be there. The evening sky dyed the boy's cheeks a shade of orange. The girl forced her stiffened lips into one last false smile and waved goodbye. She took 1, 2 steps. She wanted to turn around and hug him. She broke into a run as she began to imagine the feeling of her first love's chest. Tears fogged her vision, and the wind carried away her weeping. She looked up to the sky, and it seemed to change from its winter hue to the lively colors of spring. Haru wished from the bottom of her heart. She wished that someday, somewhere, their promise would be fulfilled. She wished for a reunion between two innocent angels, without any heed at all to fathers or sins. She wished for a glimpse of gentle spring in her life of winter. There is more to this visual novel than I thought. I have a feeling I'm not doing something right because this is happening. Usami was muttering something. I think I messed up some choices or something. Tears rolled from her eyes. It was almost like she was trying to tickle my conscience. Don't do this, Kyousuke. Why? Usami. A tinge of headache came on. The strength in my grip weakens ever so slightly. The softness in me as I thought I killed reared its head. A father is a father and a daughter is a daughter. What sin has Usami Haru committed? Shut up, Usami. But she didn't stop calling for Kyousuke. No matter how much you cry or wail, Kyousuke isn't coming. I froze my heart. That's right, I'm Maou. A man who sought salvation and revenge and threw away everything else in its name. I'm different from that good-for-nothing Azai Kyousuke. I began to wring her neck again. This time, I'll kill her. I moan and sway as I crush this life in my hands. Die, Usami! I hear the sound of footsteps fighting through darkness. I hear rough breaths betraying a powerful desperation. He's close by. It seems he's come for me. I see. I thought I was being followed. That was him. That unfilial betrayer, the adopted son of Azai Gonzo. I called him at midnight in order to bait Gonzo. He must have lost it. I was supposed to have been dead, after all. I meant to kill the traitor. When I found out he was acting as a rep for his Eyes Front business, I went mad with rage. That darn weakling getting too big for his boots. Nevertheless, the footsteps I hear hold no hesitation. A far cry indeed from the delusional boy I called earlier tonight. He'd gone so far off the deep end that he believed himself to be Maou. So that's how it is. I put my life on the line while he sat around fostering his love. Let her go! He shouted at me. Don't lay a finger on Usami! The tone of his voice seemed determined to protect this girl. You do know who you're speaking to, don't you? Yeah. Who does he think he is, interfering with my plans? That darn Kyousuke. Opposing me, Samajima Kyohei. Oh. I'll edit there. That was so long. Oh. Kyohei, what? What's happening? I gotta find out what's going on. This is so exciting. Bye.